going on, everybody? Welcome back to another, dare I say, amazing episode of the Viall Files Going Deeper edition. I am your host, Nick, joined by Allie and Amanda. I looked at you when I said Allie. I looked at you when I said Amanda.
You always do.
I'm dyslexic, and everything I do is backwards.
He's like, I've never once looked at the right spot at the right time.
That wouldn't be like, I'd take that criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine.
Wait, were you in the when you were taking tests as a kid? Were you in like the extended time special room?
No, I wish.
I was.
No, I think I was just smart enough to not.
It's not an intelligence thing. It's a processing thing.
It's true.
That's what I'm saying. But like,
I got to go to a different room, I think, for like math in high school. It's just I needed more time.
I never got more time.
It's too bad.
I also liked the calming environment.
Yeah. There's also a sense of camaraderie with like all
Right?
the other, like,
hey.
I'm just sitting there with all the other neurotypical kids like, hey guys, see you next exam season.
It was a different generation. It wasn't cool back then to be different.
Yeah, or it probably also like wasn't the accessibility to like testing to get these kinds of accommodations. I feel like was probably a lot less available. Like huge privilege to like even have
Or are you
access to
talking
that.
like standardized tests?
Yeah.
Any type of
I-
test. I always definitely had to like, it's like anything else. You almost had to warm up mentally and then you almost like found a groove.
yeah.
But like to start.
Our high school literally had like a woman who that was like her full-time thing for like normal tests. You could like go chill with her.
Well, we have a great episode for you. Hayley Orrantia from the Goldbergs is with us.
She is lovely.
She was great. Really loved her insights on everything. Also multi-talented musically.
Well, what do they call those?
Theatrically.
Multi-hyphenate?
Yeah.
Singer-songwriter.
threats.
That's what it said in her. I didn't know how to pronunciate that word.
Hyphenate?
I just skipped over it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nick, every time that
For
we have
teaching
like
me how
an
to
ad
read.
for something with like ingredients and he's like, and it's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if it's more than 3 syllables,
This
it's
is
like
hard.
I may or may
Skipping it.
not. I might back down.
Yeah, Hayley is wonderful. We have a great week lined up for you next week. Obviously, our Ask Nick. For the Ask Nickies out there.
I love that.
Great episode. Elizabeth Wagmeister from Variety Magazine. You know we love her. She's been on a few times to help us break down the Bachelorette. She'll be with us to help us break down episode 4. And then going deeper, big week next week, Holly Madison.
Whoop whoop.
Formerly of the, what was the show? Big
Girls
show?
Next Door.
Girls Next Door. Recently, documentary, a bit of salacious behind the scenes of the Playboy house. Not
Mansion. Playboy Mansion.
so Playboy Mansion, the not so
Glamorous
life of the Girls Next Door. But love Holly. Can't wait to have her on as we learn about her a little bit more. And I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of fun stuff. So be sure to check that out. Always appreciate your reviews. Well, that's not true. We always appreciate your 5-star.
Your good reviews.
Your good reviews. So if you feel like taking the time to do that on Apple iTunes or Spotify, we appreciate. And if not, more importantly, as always, thank you for listening. Oh, and also sports fans out there, NFL training camp has started, and we will be diving into all things NFL. So join me and my co-host Lindsay McCormick for a Fandemonium, which is live 6 p.m. Eastern on the AMP app. You have to have an iPhone at least right now to do it. So check us out. Download the app, and we'll be talking all things NFL today, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'd love for you to join us. Anything, ladies, you want to add before we get to Hayley?
I feel like we should just jump to Hayley.
Let's get to Hayley.
Let's get to Hayley. Hayley, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
Good. This is
Just
fun.
crushing life.
You know, staying busy.
Staying busy. Your bio talks about you being multi-talented.
Was that in there?
It is.
Well, I'm glad.
You are. Singer, songwriter as well. I mean, you've been a very successful working actor for the better part of going on a decade now.
Yeah, that's wild.
On the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
How's that feel being so successful?
You know, I'm tired. No, it's so much fun. Like I feel very lucky because when you do a show, like you don't ever imagine it going 10 years. As fun as it would be in your brain, it's like there's no way. But
yeah, you always hear because like, you know, I have a lot of friends in the acting space. I've dabbled in it as well, especially like when the show, you talk like you get a show, then you get pilot season is going to get picked up, and if it gets picked up, and then like do you make you get casted for the pilot, but then there's so many
phases,
so many phases, and so many ways that it won't turn into what the Goldbergs has turned into. That must be like such an incredible feeling.
It's wild. I have like pinch me moments all the time where I'm like, when we're saying, oh, we're going on a decade, I can't even really like grasp that much time has gone by in my mind, but we're just so lucky because we like genuinely have a good time on set. I feel so cliche to be like, oh, we're like family, but
I mean, actually, I can testify to this because my first ever time in LA, it was part of like a grant I won through school. So they like flew me out to meet with Northwestern alumni, and the showrunner, Alex Barno, went to Northwestern. And so I got to like sit in on the writer's room, sit in on set, and everywhere there was so much like camaraderie and really good energy. And it just seemed like people doing their jobs and genuinely like getting along with one another.
It's crazy how like, and I've only really done this show, so it's hard for me to say I'm only going off of this experience, but people who come in as guest stars, they constantly say like, this is a unique vibe of like the crew, the cast, like everyone together is really like having fun and just enjoying being there. And I guess that's rare, or at least they make it sound that way. So it's so fun to be able to like have people come on and say that it's been a good experience because we feel that every day. We just love being there.
That's great. And then you have new music coming out?
Yeah, so I've just been like songwriting a ton by myself, which has been really therapeutic and really nice. And I'm trying to release some new music. I've got a song coming out August 12th called Gasoline. And then just kind of going to phase out some new songs and an EP.
What was more of a passion, acting or singing?
Always music.
Always music.
I started singing and I guess songwriting at a very young age. And then long story short, I kind of ended up falling into acting because labels were like, hey, you should get a TV show and do the Hannah Montana thing.
Fall in acting and just become super
just
successful.
So just like audition. No, it was a few years.
You know what I noticed when I moved to LA? Have you guys ever done karaoke in LA? Wild experience.
My God. Nothing like it.
It's nothing like it.
Truly nothing.
There's all these like very talented people who like a lot of them you like might know as actors or whatever. And then they go up there and you're just like, oh my God, they're awesome. Like everyone is amazing. I've been to so many like karaoke's where
That's
like
so
people go up and you're just like, that was the most beautiful voice I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. And it's not just the voice, it's the stage presence.
Yeah.
They perform. Like it is like professional level.
That karaoke night, I am that person though, where I'm like, I will be like, it is time for karaoke. I beg every rap party when I have a couple drinks and I like go up to cast and crew and I'm like, hey, are we going to the karaoke place now? And they're like, no one's going. I'm like, no, but we need to go.
We're going to karaoke.
Because in LA, especially if we're focused on acting, like I need to get on stage and like, just, it's fun.
Yeah,
so.
you forget that there's a lot of talented singers out there who have made a name for themselves as actors.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you get a microphone in front of them and you're just like, that was so beautiful.
It's so fun.
What are your go-to karaoke songs?
Oh my God. Okay, weird choices maybe, but I really love Misery Business, Paramore.
Okay.
I love...
I'm not familiar with that song. Can you give us some?
You're joking.
Well, maybe if you sang it.
No.
I don't know.
I was like, no, you live under a rock.
I don't know the song by the title that you just gave me.
Misery Business?
I'm
in the business of misery. I'll take it from the top. That one?
I'm just like stupid when it comes to music.
I actually don't know it either.
Neither do I.
Well, no, this is real life.
You know what?
Paramore?
I took
like
one for the
Hayley
team.
Williams?
Paramore. I'm familiar with Paramore.
Yeah. It's like the
Is
song.
that the If I Die Young?
No! Oh my
Amanda!
soul. Oh my God.
Amanda!
We're gonna get absolutely flamed.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I do live under a rock.
No, it's
with
okay.
references. I really do.
That's wild.
Musically, I'm stupid.
Okay.
Like, I don't
we'll
know
credit it to that.
3 words to any song. Like I'm definitely a top 40s guy.
Okay.
I was always the guy being like, hey guys, have you heard this song? People are like, it's been out for a year.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh, my bad. Found it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
me.
my thing. No, Misery Business is an amazing song. I don't know. You guys have to go and listen to it now. But I also love like, I Want to Dance with Somebody. Whitney Houston is like
That's
by
good.
far my favorite
I do know
song.
that song.
Or Super Bass. Nicki Minaj did a little rapping.
Okay.
Yes.
I like to break it up. Yeah.
Oh, all right. And I see you have a beautiful engagement ring.
I do.
So crushing life personally as well.
Working on it.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
it's always one or the other.
Personal or professional?
But,
Don't get me wrong. It was pretty tragic leading up to meeting my fiance. So.
Tell us more.
I mean, I wrote a whole EP about it, so you can always go listen to it.
How would you take care of your car if you had to keep the same one your entire life? Great question.
Maintenance over time.
Maintenance. You would take care of it. Well, BetterHelp is going to help you take care of yourself, your mental health, because
you only get one.
You only have one brain, one soul, one life to live, and let's make it the happiest it can possibly be. We have stresses in our lives: work stress, money stress, relationship stress. Sometimes just like we don't even know where it's coming from. Sometimes we just want an ear to bend. Well, BetterHelp is helping people get the therapy they need and deserve easier than ever before. Because it can be kind of a bit intimidating to get therapy. And then inaccessible, expensive, all those things. Well, BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat-only sessions. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. You can do it from the comfort of your home, your car, wherever, on the road. Your phone, your tablet, your computer. You can start matching with a therapist in under 48 hours. Go to betterhelp.com/Viall Files. You take a quick quiz, let them know what you're looking for. Now, the best part about it is you can have a new therapist every session if you want. I mean, ideally, you want to do it to find someone that fits your needs, but the whole point is it might take a few strikes in the match before you feel a fire with a therapist that works for you. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Viall Files. That's betterhelp.com/VIALLFILES. Brooklinen. Oh, it's good to be home. It's good to be back in the comfort of my sheets, my Brooklinen. That's the one thing I noticed at all these very fancy hotels we sit in. They didn't have Brooklinen, and I tell you what, they should. Brooklinen should start outfitting hotels in Paris. Good news is you don't have to go to a fancy hotel to get Brooklinen in your life. You just have to go to brooklinen.com and get some of their incredibly affordable, incredibly soft, and luxurious sheets. They have comforters, duvet covers, towels, robes. It's summer. You can get beach towels, very colorful beach towels. And then the loungewear. Oh my, don't even get me started on their loungewear. Incredible sweats. One thing I love about the Brooklinen sheets, especially in the summer, it keeps your body cool because no one likes to sleep hot. I'm a Brooklinen customer for life, and they have over 100,000 five-star reviews. 100,000. Head over to Brooklinen today to keep your cool at home and on the go all summer long. Go to Brooklinen and use code VIALL to get $20 off plus free shipping on your order of $100 or more. That's BROOKLINEN.com and enter promo code VIALL for $20 off plus free shipping. For those listening in New York, you can see and feel the comfort in real life. That's right. They have a store in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. I always run by it when I'm in Brooklyn. West Village as well. If you're in LA based, they have a wonderful little location in Santa Monica. Check it out. I've been there. It's wonderful. How much of your failures in your personal life and relationships, now that you're in this seemingly wonderful engagement, like as you reflect back, a common thing that a lot of people will say, in relationships that recently ended, and maybe you said this to yourself before, with a relationship that ended, that was a waste. You know, I can't believe that ended. I invested so much in that relationship. What a waste. I feel like, or when you're going through or considering maybe like this relationship isn't right for me, you're just like, well, I don't want to waste what we had. But now that you're in this relationship, how much, when you reflect back, would you attribute your ability to have a connection with your current partner, like lessons you've learned from past relationships?
For me, I feel like I can't actually relate to that idea of it was a waste, because I've always felt the opposite and tried to encourage my friends to view it that way as well, where I feel like you get into a relationship, and even if you convince yourself fully that this is like my person forever, that, you know, you take something away from every relationship, no matter how amazing it actually was or how horrible it was. There's always something that you can carry with you of, oh, I've learned that about either what I like in another person or what I'm able to navigate and live with. And you sort of carry that into your next relationship, because that's the only way that you're really going to be able to find the person that's meant for you is by all of those mistakes. And so I don't know, but I've had a lot of lessons in my dating experience. I feel like that I've taken away in a good way and a bad way. A major one that I think led me into my now relationship was we both bonded over having dated like full-blown sociopaths. And I know a lot of people say that as like, oh, they're crazy, but legit, sometimes they are. And so I think
What made you realize that? What gave you the confidence to identify them as a sociopath?
well, when cops get involved, I think it's another level. I have a whole like thing I've put out in the past about it, but I it's a long story, but ultimately you end up finding out that this person isn't at all who they say they are. And my experience is unique because
like second family?
No, I was sort of like preyed upon because of, I think, what I do for a living and kind of viewed as like a wallet of sorts. And so having a lot of things happen behind the scenes that you don't know about just because they're it was just used and a lot of betrayal. And so I think that through that growing and learning of having something that like traumatic and jolting happen to me, I feel like I was able to relate to my now fiance because we both oddly experienced something like that. And being able to have somebody to actually have the perspective of, oh, I've been there and I know your lack of trust issues and where they come from, rather than being like, oh, I understand, like I get it, I'll try to work through it with you. But
other than having, which is important and nice, having a partner that can relate to you, how are you able to not let the tragedy of this past relationship and the lack of trust that you realize that you didn't have? Because again, that happened. That's relatable too. I mean, maybe they're not a psychopath, but like, betrayal can really potentially affect our ability or our choice to trust. Like, how are you able to not let that affect you going forward? Especially before you even met your current partner, you must have had to try to.
I think in a way I tried to it was such a shock to the system that in a way I immediately did the opposite of what I probably should have done, which I should have avoided everyone. And in a way, I think I worked through that phase as well, where you kind of phase people out because you're like, okay, I don't trust anyone anymore. Like, how do I build that back up? But my initial gut instinct was jump into the next thing immediately and act like that, not act like it didn't happen, but almost like I couldn't register what it was that just happened to me because it goes so much deeper than just like, oh, we cheated. But in that it's unique. But I would say betrayal in general, I kind of just did the opposite out of like, okay, this is what I know, like just get into like a relationship again. And then eventually I got to the point where I realized, no, I have to work through some of this stuff and actually figure out like what I'm to blame for with myself and really what I can blame this other person on and claim that as a unique situation and move on because like not everyone's a sociopath. Like just because something bad happened to you in a relationship doesn't mean that you have to live in that forever and have the shame of that or just feel like something's wrong with me. It's like, no, something's wrong with that person and they're not ready for whatever a regular relationship would be or with me. So I guess I kind of just did the opposite. And by forcing myself to do that, I kept myself open to the possibility that while I'm working through my trust issues, I can't anticipate that everyone's going to come after me in that sort of way.
What was something you felt like you needed to work on when you said like there's things I could have, I hate the word blame, but like maybe like hold yourself more accountable. What was something that you learned that you wanted to do differently in your next relationships?
Well, try to take my time because I think sometimes I don't. I like, growing up in that sort of Disney World land of like, oh, you meet somebody, you fall in love, and it's
hard
just
and fast kind of thing.
And it's like, oh, it's just, isn't it magical? But it's like, no, the more you actually do take your time in getting to know someone, take your time progressing the relationship in these phases, if marriage and kids is what you want one day, then like you're going to be able to really figure out who it is that's meant for you. And I don't know. So for me, I guess I really had to work on taking my time with it. And I mean, there's a lot of things. I would also say not just like in the case of like the crazy breakup, just not assuming that like everyone has your best interest at heart, like you have to just be cautious in figuring out like, I don't know, who you really are, but I don't know, be attentive to a relationship. I think maybe I wasn't. I could try to blame myself in that relationship for a lot of things, but at the end of the day, he was definitely
it's not
a master manipulator.
It's not so much blame, but I think to your point, it's just like just things you can learn to do a little bit different. And like you said, maybe it was just, I think a lot of people struggle with that. I know I have, where you jump in a relationship, you want to get excited, you want to start fantasizing with the person you're excited about, and that can be fun. But if you don't check in with yourself or your partner early on, you can get carried away. You can start to play house. You can stop. And it's something we've talked a lot about on the show. You can kind of almost stop getting to know someone.
Yeah.
Because you can meet them and be like, oh my God, like I think think they're the one.
Yeah.
And I think, wow, you're perfect. And then you just kind of stop. And then a lot of times in the honeymoon phase, you both just kind of like to talk about how much you guys love each other. Isn't this great? Aren't we in love? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is going to be great. We should do this. But no one's really like
getting to it.
You're not really talking and learning, and no one's saying, there's something that I struggle with or bothers me. Can I share with you? And then you work through it. Or we were talking about before, sometimes, you're 3 or 4 months into a relationship and like you've felt a lot of momentum, and then all of a sudden there's like a weird week where you feel it disconnected, but instead of bringing it up, you don't, because you don't want to ruin the thing that you're feeling. So you just kind of go with it, and then you just kind of passively aggressively address it like later on. There's all these
snowballs
all these things.
Definitely. I guess just taking my time with it was a major aspect of why I think my relationship is so healthy with my partner. Like we both are coming at it from the same angle of being like, okay, I'm like cautious and I'm going to keep everything at a distance to a degree, but also respecting why we're kind of going through that process, and we're able to take time and really get to know each other. And when those difficult conversations or things come up, being comfortable enough to go like, we got nothing to lose here. It's like, we're just two people who are individuals. And if we were supposed to be together and we like being together, then great. So let's just put it on the table. And if we're not meant for each other, then feel okay walking away. Cause like, there's 8 billion people in the world. So,
Speaking my language. Speaking of cheating, Amanda, should we get into the Emily Ratajkowski of it all?
Yes.
It sounds like you're our perfect guest to help us break this down. Yeah.
We shall see.
Who here in this room has been cheated on? Allie? No?
I guess I'm just perfect.
Nice.
So.
Wow. Tell us your ways.
You break up with him by month 203 and then you never reach that stage.
All right, before we start talking about this, I'm curious. Do you, now that it's all over and done with, you're in a relationship, you're healed, do you in any way feel grateful for that experience?
Yes. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And I had that the other day where I'm thinking about in the moment, the first year, I would say, after finding everything out and doing the digging, and it was just so dramatic. A year after that, I'm still in that phase of hating that person, but also I've come to a point now where I know that none of the good things in my life would have happened had that not happened the way that it did. As painful as that was, and how much as I wish I could in some ways go back and look at myself and go, don't date that guy, red flag, walk away. I'm also so grateful that I went through that, because it has helped me in my friendships, in my current relationship, in many aspects, my art. I've been able to see things from a different perspective than I never did before. So I am in a way grateful for it, as much as it feels weird to say that.
I don't think it's weird. I think it's against the grain of what society tells us, I view my getting cheated on as like a pivotal point in my life. And I've always been less afraid of being cheated on ever since then, not more.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the norm, but I just was more like, I got through it. And then I looked at cheating in such a different way. Like you said before, I was just like, wait, it's not a flaw in me, it's a flaw in them. And
yeah.
I can't change what people do. So I'm just gonna go ahead and trust, and we'll see how.
Worst case scenario, I've done this before, and I can get through it again.
And so rather than constantly live in fear of it all, and because I think that's what happens when we're younger, we just assume it's never gonna happen to us.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you don't start dating and be like, yeah, I'll probably get cheated on.
Yeah, it's probably gonna happen. For sure.
You look in the mirror and go, no, who would cheat on me?
Yeah,
and then it happens, but yeah. But Emily got cheated on.
Yes. And I think there's been a ton of discourse on this. It's sort of because Emily is, I think, famously one of the most stunning supermodels, kind
She's
of
thought of as what?
Upheld as the epitome of beauty.
Standard of beauty, yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of kind of discourse that was like, see if someone this beautiful can get cheated on.
Anyone can get
cheated on.
Which could not be more wrong.
Right.
It's such an inaccurate viewpoint.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a toxic way of looking at it too, because it's such a helpless feeling. It also puts the blame on the person being cheated on.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And I think it's also, so it's obviously really hard to get statistics on this, because it's self-reported and who's going to, there's always the chance that people are going to lie about it. But it said, so this is a huge range, but 30 to 60% of married couples will cheat at least once in the marriage.
Wow.
How many? What's the number?
30 to 60%.
That's wild.
Which is just
like most of them.
30 is still a high number.
That's insane. What do you do with that statistic? You just don't get married?
Cry.
I don't know if we need to panic. I think a lot of people are in relationships for the wrong reasons.
Do you think there's any interaction or engagement between like a partner and the way they treat you and likelihood to cheat? Like, where do you draw the line of sort of like, oh, it's exclusively self-sabotage. This exists in a vacuum where like the partner's totally irrelevant?
Well, no, yeah, because I do think the partner's totally irrelevant, because even if you're a shitty partner, and then let's say you're the shitty one, like you're toxic, you don't listen, you're selfish, you're always hanging out with your friends, and then you get cheated on. That person could have broken up with you. Like that person who cheated on you doesn't get to say that you can be like, yeah, that's why I did what I did, and it might make some sense, but like you could have left the relationship.
Right.
You could have. There's a million things you could do, and not cheat on them. You know, so it's still the choice of the cheater.
Yeah.
You know, like you can justify it. Those are just justifying things, but it doesn't, it's your attempt to, but it doesn't work. You know, it's like you're still cheated.
Yeah.
No one likes waiting on a paycheck, especially when you've got bills due. That's right. Good thing there's Chime. Now you get your paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit. That's up to 2 more days to save, pay bills, and generally just feel good about your money situation. But Chime is more than just about getting paid early. It's also an award-winning mobile app, checking account, debit card, and optional savings account. Money today is worth more than money tomorrow. That's just a fact. Time value of money. So make your money worth more with Chime. So what are you waiting for? Hopefully not your paycheck. Get started with Chime today. Applying for a free account takes less than 2 minutes. Get started at chime.com/VIALL. That is chime.com/VIALL. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bank Corp Bank or Stride Bank, N.A. members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depend on payer. It's always good to get money early, so think of Chime when you're in need for that quick cash.
Do you think it's fair for people to have a deal breaker of I'm not going to date anybody who has cheated in the past on a partner? Or not fair, but like, what do you think of that deal breaker?
I think it's reasonable. You know, like we're reminded of like Zach from Tayshia's season on The Bachelor. I don't know if you're familiar, but like he did the lie detector test, and he's like, "Yeah, I cheated in high school." It's just like, yeah, if you kissed another girl at a party, like maybe you let that slide. For me, if I was dating now, I have a series of questions. Like in my head, I've always had a series of questions if I were on a date with someone or it came up that they had cheated. My first question is, how did they find out? Did you own up to it or did they find out from someone else? That's question number 1.
Yeah.
2, was it a moment of weakness that happened one night, or did you have like an affair? Was there like something going on? I think a moment of weakness I can get over. You know?
Yeah.
Like if someone I met was like, 3 years ago, I was unhappy. I'm not justifying it. I was wrong. I felt guilty. I hooked up with someone else. I felt miserable. I told my partner pretty quickly. It took me a couple of days to gather up the courage, but I owned up to it. I could get over that.
Yeah.
How about you?
No, I think so. I'm trying to think of like playing devil's advocate, I guess, of just in what circumstances do people cheat? I mean, there's the have your cake and eat it too. It's just like I don't want to really settle down, but this person that I really do like is kind of making me do that. So I'm kind of getting the best of both worlds. But I mean, I don't know. Like, are there statistics on, I would say like how many people end up leaving the person they cheated on for the person they cheated with? Or is it typically, would you say, just like randomly hooking up with whoever?
And again, all of the statistics is like not as like we're talking, like the websites cited are like iFidelity, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, it was probably like an Instagram poll.
Yeah. But one thing that's kind of interesting is it says, so over 60% of cheating women said their partners are more attractive than the lovers. But 89% of cheating women report that the man they're cheating with makes them feel more appreciated than their significant other. So it's not necessarily that this person is like hotter, it's that they are fulfilling emotional needs unmet.
Mm-hmm. I was scrolling on TikTok. TikTok handle is professional man. And it seems like he's going to school for psychology, but it's this guy right here. So he has a hat on and no shirt. And then I thought to myself, I've given relationship advice with no shirt on, and this is what I look like. So maybe I'm going to stop doing it. Because I started watching and be like, I'm going to hate this.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was kind of genius. I'm gonna play it. So let me know what you guys think. So just props to professional man on TikTok. But it was his explanation of what he thinks people cheat are. And I thought it was really, really interesting.
The entire internet is up in arms. They cannot believe that this man, Sebastian Bear, cheated on Emily Ratajkowski. Everyone is shocked. They can't believe it. They can't believe it. How could somebody cheat on this woman who was so beautiful? I'm not surprised. Here's why. Now, first off, I got to say that this has absolutely nothing to do with them, but people cheat. So in order to understand why people cheat, it is important to first understand arousal and attraction. Arousal and attraction is a combination of separateness and uncertainty. Another way to put it that may be useful is that longing is the combination of lacking and loving simultaneously. So, in order for arousal and for longing to take place, there needs to be a certain element of uncertainty. So I'm about to give you all the solution on how to prevent this from happening. But before that is the case, I want to ask you a question. Can you ever really know someone fully? I don't mean, can you trust someone? No. Can you ever really know someone fully? Another human being with all their complexities and intricacies, can you know them fully and truly know them? I believe that the answer is no. And that is a useful answer because when you have that recognition, it brings back uncertainty. It brings mystery into your relationship. It brings a sense of uncertainty, separateness. And when you have that uncertainty, when you have that mystery in your relationship, you have attraction and arousal. So this right here is the solution to prevent cheating. Now, I'm not talking about to prevent your partner from cheating, can't control other people, but this is how you prevent yourself from cheating, from having that wandering eye. You need to recognize that you cannot and do not fully know and see your partner. There is inherently a level of mystery in their own humanness. There's a level of uncertainty in their own humanness. And in that separation, in that mystery, there lies attraction and arousal.
Could not agree
right?
more. That's so well said.
It's so genius, and it really made me think about like relationships in general. Because you know how like when you're in a relationship, and even like everything's happy, like every relationship has like things vary, like up the power dynamic. You know, every once in a while, maybe you have a week where you're just like you don't know why you're feeling a little insecure. Maybe your partner has been like meeting new people and hanging out with friends, and all of a sudden you just feel like a little unloved from them. And you know what happens when you feel like that? You want them more, you know, even in that relationship. And everything's fine. You're not really worried about the relationship. You're good. And sometimes where you don't have that uncertainty as you describe, you're just like, it's just another day. You can get annoyed by your partner. And I love that recognition. And I think he said that recognition that you never know your partner is a really healthy thing. And another thing, like, I was thinking about it too. It just made me like, in my relationship now, like I will never like take it for granted in a sense. For like, I'll never say, oh, nothing will break us up. We're meant to be. Like, I think every relationship is incredibly fragile. And like him, like that doesn't make me more scared of a relationship. It just makes me
realistic.
Makes me realistic. And now it makes me feel more prepared to protect the relationship that I have.
Yeah.
Because in other relationships, I thought anytime I had that kind of overconfidence like turned into complacency and taking things for granted only to wake up one day and like have things not be what I thought they would be, like at the risk of like just taking it for granted. Like that's when that makes you check in, and that makes you ask questions. That makes you like, like always prioritize the relationship and realize like, yeah, people can change. And like that's why like being cheated on, it doesn't like scare me anymore, or like knowing that my current relationship could end. It might end. I can't stop her from meeting people or connecting with people. You can't stop your part. You don't want to be one of those people who's like, I don't want you to go out. I don't want you to meet new people, because you're constantly afraid.
That's not a healthy relationship either. Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think what that guy said was really genius.
Yeah.
And I think kind of back to the original point, like, with, Emily being cheated on, like, I don't know this person or his dynamic, but the level of this guy was married to this woman who most people see as this incredibly beautiful person. And he stopped like seeing her that way somehow. He stopped appreciating this person he had because he just decided he had her. Mm-hmm. And he took, I'm just assuming, right? Like assumed that, well, I'm married. And that desire of uncertainty that he was feeling, he chose to find it elsewhere. That validation he probably wanted to feel for feeling like he, someone valued him. Mm-hmm. And I think that happens probably in a relationship, is we no longer get value of feeling special because we just, they're our partner. We're meant to be, or they're going to be there. They're going to be there. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't feel loved. And we have to figure out ways to still like find that.
Yeah, definitely. Work at it. I guess that's what they always say, though.
I'm curious, like on the topic of kind of continuing to know your partner, has there either been something that you found out about your partner recently that was like, wow, I didn't know this about you? Or conversely, like a question you'd recommend people ask to kind of elicit new information about someone who they've been with for a long time?
That's tough. I'm trying to think if there's anything that it was recently like surprising, but
I mean, something recently that I just was mindful of is, and I talked with you about this, is acknowledging change in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like subtle change and checking and just acknowledging that in the relationship. Mm-hmm. When I say early in a relationship, like the first 2 years, that I still consider that pretty early. You're, to that, people are complex. It takes time. And you look at like my relation, like Natalie moved from Savannah and we immediately moved in with each other. And we've had this like really great relationship with very little conflict and et cetera, et cetera. But like as we settle in to living together and her moving to a new city and her making friends and me making friends and our lives are constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. And so there's constant change, and how we interact will therefore like be different. And we've gotten good at just like saying, this is different, not naming it good or bad, not judging it, not saying, oh, but like it's different. I am feeling something from this. And like just talking about it has been like a big help in our relationship. I know in the past, I would be too afraid to acknowledge the change. Mm-hmm. And because I was like, well, either A, I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to feel or seem insecure, or I don't want to come across as jealous or et cetera, et cetera. And so I think a lot of people don't acknowledge change in a relationship, and like subtle changes. Like maybe that changes your partner is like, maybe like hanging out with friends more, or maybe your partner is, I don't know, this like spending more time on their phone than they're used to. It's like, oh, I just notice, and just talking through it, because I think we often just ignore these little things, and there's usually something there, not good or bad, but like, mm-hmm. I think that makes it easier to grow with each other, because you're always growing in a relationship. And you just, the only question is, are you growing together or are you growing apart? But you're always growing. And I think that's something I've learned.
Have you heard of the Rejection challenge? So there is a guy named Jia Jiang who did a TED Talk, and his whole idea is about exposing yourself to rejection.
Like rejection therapy or something?
Yeah, like on a daily basis. So like one of the things he says is like ask a stranger to borrow $100 as a means of like developing a sort of like defense layer of like where rejection doesn't impact you in the same way.
Oh,
I love that.
And like, yeah, I'm curious, one, what do you think about that? And two, how good do you think you are at handling rejection?
I mean, wait, so he's going and asking random people for $100 and then dealing with whatever their reaction is?
Yeah, so he came up with this challenge, and there's like 100 different things, all like all things that are meant to elicit rejection from people, whether that's like asking a stranger for $100, or there's one where you like at a restaurant, or like, can I have a refill on my burger? Like just stuff that is like kind of comical, but the point is that it's going to, you're going to get a no from someone in real time, face to face. And like that having that frequently will like
processing that emotion.
Yeah. And that like so much of the fear of rejection is what we build it up to be, as opposed to what the experience is in the moment.
Yeah.
And so
I would assume
I feel like
you're good.
Actually,
you're an actor.
When I think about that, I'm like, I feel like I know what that is all the time though. I mean, now, granted, I'm sure there's plenty of people who are, maybe they're actors watching this being like, Hayley, shut up. You've been on a show for 10 years. But I will say leading up to that, and also massively understand that in the context of music for me, where it's like, on a label standpoint, that career has not been the same way, that I feel like you do just get used to people being like, no, or like, not right now, or you know what I mean? That it's,
and also it's not like you haven't been auditioning for like other shows and movies since you've been on the Goldbergs.
And miss out on it.
And my guess is now that you've had some success, like it's actually harder to get rejected once you feel success, because you're just like, well, no one's going to reject me now.
Right.
And then it happens again and you have to reprocess that.
But you kind of have to just become like numb to the just fact that like that's life, like that sometimes it's gonna not work out that way, and you just adjust and move on, and like you can't let it affect you. You have to, what's the phrase, like roll off a duck's back or something, like water off a duck's back, where you just let it roll off and it's like keep moving.
I saw a quote that was like, the art of being wise is knowing what to overlook. And I was like, damn.
Yeah. It's hard.
I am not wise yet.
And I mean, I was in sales for a long time, so I got good at.
You were doing your own rejection challenge.
I mean,
before it was like popular.
Honestly, 100 times a day. You know, like make 100 phone calls, you get one yes, and that's just for a meeting, not even a sale. It's just like, and I attribute a lot of the success I've had out here in terms of being able to face rejection. I think it's something like people should try more on, and like I think that's great, because rejection is like an ego triggering event. It just like it triggers your ego, and then once you are listening to your ego more, like then you're going to make bad decisions. You know, you're not making decisions that are right for you long term. Like the ego, when it's triggered, it wants immediate gratification. It doesn't care how it gets it. It doesn't care like who it has to borrow from. It'll deal with the consequences later. It's just about satisfying that feeling in the moment. Yeah. And that's, you know, so.
Yeah, it's like a bug bite. Like the rejection is a bug bite, and then your ego makes you scratch it, even though it's like, and then it turns into this much larger thing.
Exactly.
Definitely. Great analogy.
Thank you. Completely pivoting. Alicia Silverstone is getting a lot of commentary, some of it negative, about her decision to sleep in the same bed as her 11-year-old son. What do you guys make of kind of sharing a bed with a child through that age? And also just generally,
I don't imagine myself doing that if I get to be a parent.
Yeah. I feel like it, as much as it might be done out of love and like wanting to let your child know that you're there for them and there to comfort them and in any circumstance, I feel like it hinders them from, I don't know, caught up socially on certain things. That's something that I experienced as well. Like I was scared of the dark, and I'm an only child. So I was always like sleeping in my parents' room. And at first they're really fighting. And then after a while it was like, oh, well, she's like terrified. And I had to really work past that. And I feel like that fear that I kept instilled in me for so long has come out in so many other aspects of my life that aren't just like, I'm afraid of the dark, that I think that in some ways it will affect the child negatively, despite it becoming from like good intentions, I guess I should say.
I think it's tough. It seems like a lot of her untraditional parenting habits that have been criticized, like I think what was the bird feeding that she did?
What was that one?
She like chewed their food
baby
and
bird
like, spit in their mouth.
Well,
a lot of it, yeah. But a lot of it seems like her wanting to feel connected to her kids, a sense of closeness. But like, my fear for the child is being too then codependent on their mom or parent. So it's like, I only have a dog. I'm not a parent. But I will say, like, getting my love for Jeff, my dog, has made me realize just how hard it is, how hard it might be if I'm lucky enough to be a parent to like disappoint your kid out of love for their well-being, or to try to selflessly discipline them or feel some separation from them because I want to teach them a lesson, because all I want to do is care for them and soothe them, it must be a real challenge. And I can only empathize with parents because I don't know what it's like to be one yet. But yeah, I think that's
tough.
It's tough because I think even through love, parents can fuck up their kids.
Yeah.
Like, with the best of intentions.
Totally.
You know, like bad parents don't come from like parents who don't give a shit all the time. Sometimes it just comes from a lack of awareness and or fortitude to just try to do the thing that needs to be done. So ultimately you're trying to, isn't parenting all about setting your kid up for success once they leave the nest, so to speak?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's a hard balance.
It's a hard balance.
Just covering one last topic. Did you guys hear about the Drake controversy where he took a photo of a woman at a restaurant? She has no idea she's being photographed. Put it on his story with the caption, "Tried to airdrop this woman a pic of herself because she's a dime." Ooh. And a lot of people are saying, don't post a photo of a stranger on the internet. I wanted to talk about the means of like airdropping someone a photo of themselves that you took
on a plane the other day.
What?
I'm sitting there and had Wi-Fi on the plane and I'm just playing, and then it was like, Braden wants to send you a photo of your airdrop, and I'm like looking around like
which one of you is Braden?
And I'm like, maybe it was an accident, so I stopped it, but then they just kept doing it, so they like could tell that I was rejecting it, and I was like, I'm not opening this because I don't know what I'm about to get. Like that's weird. So it's weird to me. It's weird. Like it's intentionally like you might as well just go up to the person and be like, "Hey, what are you eating?" Like you could get very involved in their stuff.
Yeah. I don't think Drake should have done that. I feel like that as a Drake feeling like he's Drake. But like, what if this woman's in a relationship and maybe she's going through a tough bout with her partner, and there's a little bit of jealousy, and all of a sudden like Drake's posting about her.
Yeah. Well, and I also saw something on TikTok recently, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it was kind of like that video you showed. This guy brilliantly talked about how, and it really made me think about it, how women, like in that scenario, what I go to is like, Drake just assumed that there's this beautiful woman over here that I can insert myself, because she must be available. If she's in a public place by herself, she's making herself presentable to me, that I can just go up and just assume that she's going to want to take my number or possibly take my number. It's like, it takes away the fact that like women, we can't exist in a public space without it being like, oh, you're here to be hit on. Like, I feel like that is something that's so subtly underneath and every man's subconscious, and women's, I guess, as well, the other way, where I feel like you can't just assume that this person who's existing at the bar is like capable or able or willing or wants to at all to be able to be like hit on by you. And so the fact that Drake, in his position of like not understanding, I just post it to his story. I guess, what does he have, like 34 million
something
followers? Like an insane amount of followers too. It's like, it's just so intrusive, and it lacks awareness of what that person, I feel like.
117 million followers.
A lot. So,
I'm like 34 million.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I didn't have many lines, but one go-to line of when I was back in the single life, and I had some success with it, is like I would do the opposite. Like I'd also like generally feel like I was hitting on women that were used to getting hit on. Mm-hmm. And so I would kind of very timidly kind of walk up and acknowledge that I don't want to bother them. They must be busy. And then say, like, on the off chance that you don't have a boyfriend. And I would say something like that. Like, I would love to get to know you or take you out or blah, blah. Right. And that would usually work really well because it came from I don't know, maybe that's why
but
it
made me realize that it's just when this guy talked about it on the TikTok, I'm like, that is so true. Like I feel like it's just an assumed that if you're a female by yourself that like it's available. Like, or that they're interested, like as a woman, as a person, I want to be able to just go out and go get a coffee at my local coffee shop and like go home and not have like feel like you have to go, oh God, I have to now navigate this social interaction I wasn't looking for. I mean, I understand obviously there's, you find someone attractive and that's the first step of like, oh, we talk and we start dating. So I understand the gist of it, but it made me really think about the fact that like not only is he just blasting this random person on his social media that like did not ask for that kind of attention, but just in general to like make that assumption, I feel like is, I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like we really need a societally like recognized space where it's like if you're trying to shoot your shot or get a shot on you, like you can go to this place because that's like it's not the bar anymore.
Yeah,
because like
I think it's just about the problem with hitting on a stranger in public is that it takes a lot of courage.
Oh yeah,
right. And the problem with that is that with that courage that people are personally trying to overcome, there's a sense of entitlement that the person they're hitting on needs to recognize the bravery in which it took to hit on them.
right.
And the truth is, when you hit on a stranger, they don't owe you anything. Nothing. They don't even owe you. I mean, it's nice for them to be polite, but they don't owe you anything. And so often people feel like that the person they're hitting on owes them something, even if it's their like consideration or just like the acknowledgement that it was brave for them to do that. And when that acknowledgement doesn't happen, it can get kind of toxic fast. And so if you are going to approach someone in public, men or women, you have to recognize that like they don't owe you anything. And just because it took you a lot of courage to do it, good for you, like shoot your shot, but like they don't owe you anything.
Yeah.
So yeah. Harry Styles has a new college, like what is it? Texas Tech. I just want to, people have been sending that to me. We're Harry Styles fans on this show.
Stands.
And so now you can take a college course and learn all about Harry Styles. And I'm
Wait, what?
a little jealous. Yeah. Right.
You can take a college course and learn about Harry
I don't know
Styles?
what you're learning about Harry.
Where is this at?
But okay, honestly though, I don't know if you're how familiar you are with sociology departments. You can take a sociology course on anything.
Really?
Like it'll be like the dynamics of fast food ordering, and then like they'll break down how it's like actually like
So
a
is it the
microcosm.
phenomenon of Harry Styles
So
that
it's
we're
just
studying?
like what makes Harry like so hairy? Like is it about the fascination?
Okay, so the title of the course is Harry Styles and the Cult of Celebrity: Identity, the Internet, and European Pop Culture.
Makes more sense to me.
So I think it's talking a lot about like why this person specifically was able to gain the type of like traction and elicit the response that he did
that's
amongst
interesting.
fans.
So it's like
the
a how to
Beatles.
become famous course.
Or just fame.
I think it's more of like a celebrities within society and like what does it say about our culture based on what we're responding to with this public figure.
Interesting.
It's not like Harry was born.
Yeah, that's what in my mind. I'm like, well, okay.
Pop quiz.
But it's more like the way the Beatles phenomenon really took over. Like a kind of a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That does make sense.
I'd be interested.
Sounds good.
Shall we do some texting office hours?
Let's do it.
Okay.
How's it going?
Hey, I'm Nicole. I'm 24.
Hi, Nicole. How can we help?
So I went on a date with a guy about 5 months ago. It was a great date, and we haven't had a second date since. So basically, after I wrote into you, coincidentally, might have manifested it. He reached out. So now I kind of just need help securing that second date.
So wait, tell us about tell us some backstory. Like, tell us about this first date.
So I met him on a dating app. We went on a date about 5 months ago. It was one of the best dates I've ever been on. Went to dinner, got drinks, and then made it back to his house where we listened to John Mayer on the record player and just kind of danced around, chatting, being ourselves, having a great time.
On the record player is my favorite part. It wasn't a CD.
Yeah.
It wasn't an Apple playlist.
No, it's vinyl. It's sexy.
Brought out the vinyl.
Oh yeah.
What John
Had to
Mayer
flip
song?
it over.
What John Mayer? Was it
The
burning
newest album.
burning in a broken room or whatever? What?
The newest one.
No, Carry Me Away is what really stuck out to me.
Okay.
Um,
Who put it on?
Anyways, he put it on.
Okay. How did you guys hook up?
Yeah, we hooked up.
Okay.
And I ended up staying the night. He drove me home the next day, walked me inside, met my roommates and my dog, and said, I'd really love to do this again. So we had talked about seeing each other again. Then some unforeseen circumstances happened. He got into a car accident. He was fine, but he just had a lot of things going on. So we never really made it on that second date.
Ever since February.
Since February.
We're John marrying on a vinyl. We hooked up, and the next
And then now
when
it's
did he get in
true.
an accident the next day or the next week or
The same weekend.
the same weekend? Okay.
So we had talked about it, and he was like, I'm just honestly really busy right now. And then I hadn't heard from him for like a little bit. So I like reached out again and I said, oh, like, were you just not into it? Or like, what's going on? And he was like, I'm just honestly busy. So then that was 5 months ago. He said, honestly, just been super busy with work and the accidents. Don't even have my car. How are you? I said I was good. That was kind of it. So then I write into you, and the next day he texts me out of the blue and asked me if I was going to a country concert that's going to be here in our town Labor Day weekend. I said no, but I would like to. we were just kind of having small talk. And then he said, would you want to grab drinks and apps? And I was like, when? And he sent me a GIF or GIF, however you would like to pronounce it, and said, right now. And I was like, it's 9 p.m. on a Wednesday. Not really the ideal timing right now.
I love that you said no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I sent back a GIF of just someone shaking their head like, no. And he sent one back that said, really? So I was
really?
just like, I'm just not. Yeah. He was like, really? Not now?
What?
keep going.
The nerve.
So
of
then
this
I just
man.
was like, yeah. So I'm like, it's literally almost 10 o'clock. Not happening. So then I waited till the next day to respond. I was like, to be fair, I would have, but I was super tired.
Yeah, you sent that to him. You felt the need to justify.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Yeah, that's okay.
And then he said, I totally get that. And I said, but we should grab a drink sometime soon and catch up. He said, yeah, definitely. So then Friday night, he messages me again. What are you up to? I just left the bar. And I was like, oh, I'm actually about to head there. He was like, oh, if I knew that, I would have already stayed. I'm going to out of town tomorrow to play golf. If you need a ride later or anything, let me know. And I was like, okay, appreciate that. But I normally just walk home with my friends. It's super close.
He offered you a ride home from the bar.
Yeah. So then it's like 1 a.m. and he's like, want to come over? And I was like, what's going on?
Well, I mean, we know.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. I was like, I have some friends in town, so probably not right now. And then I just asked him when he was coming back in town. He said Sunday night. And then I ended up answering really late at night once I got home, which was like 2:30 in the morning. And I said, let's do something next week then. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't know if I should reach out and try and make plans or if I should let it be.
So the last communication was you, once again, it sounds like you've done this a couple times.
Yeah, I agree.
Saying to him that you would like to make a plan, which is you trying to plan something. He has responded with reaching out to you at a variety of different times, usually around nighttime.
Mm-hmm. Late,
without any plan, hoping that you would be available whenever he is bored for whatever reason, or lonely, or feeling like the need of some sort of stimulation. I don't mean just sexual, just like he's, anytime someone reaches out in the moment, like you're an option to help them have fun. And early on in dating, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And since you guys only had one date, I wouldn't say it's the end of the world, but he is very transparent.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel in reading like your text messages with him? What is your like takeaway in gut instinct of like, do you really like, what about him is wanting you to like see him again?
Well, it was just like the first date went so well and I had such a different perspective on him. But now after seeing these recent texts, I'm just like, oh, are you looking for something different now? I don't know.
Yeah. So you're going out of your way to be like, make it convenient for him, but he is doing the exact opposite with you.
I mean, he is not even pretending not to be a fuckboy.
Yeah. So do I just kind of leave him?
Yes. And I mean that I know that that's hard because you had such a fun, magical night. And girl, I get it. Where you're like, but we danced to John Mayer in the moonlight.
On
like,
vinyl.
That is hard to beat. I hear you. But I swear to you, there are like so many other guys in your town, I'm sure of it, that will not just make it where it's convenient for them at 1 a.m. when they want to hang out, but they actually like and respect you, want to get to know you more, and will go out of their way to do that for you because I mean, that just should be happening. This guy is not valuing you or your time.
Just for devil's advocate, I mean, I completely agree with Hayley. Like that is the move. But I'll just paint a picture of what the alternative looks like. The alternative is trying to hang out with again, and most likely he'll immediately put you into a situationship. Right? Mm-hmm. If you get any type of consistency, it will be just a situationship, and he'll give you I'm not really looking for a relationship right now. And then you might be able to change that situationship into a relationship by like doing the whole like, this is what I want, all the things I've talked about on the show, but it will take some time. Mm-hmm. And all that time you will feel less than and confused and insecure, because he will constantly be avoiding all the expectations that come with a relationship. Almost a certainty with this guy. And like, it's possible. But like to Hayley's point, like there's a lot of other guys that won't immediately start off by like putting you in that kind of hookup box. And like he's not even pretending to not be a fuckboy. So to his credit, like he is like being pretty transparent with his expectations. You could say, you know, he reaches out like late at night again, because that's what he'll do, right? He'll like just check in. And you could say, hey, if you want to hang out with me, I'd really appreciate you making a plan. And you could set that expectation. And just to meet the challenge, he might do that. But it just seems like this guy, it'll be a process. So like if you let your ego take over and I want to catch the fuck boy, I want to be the person he chooses not to be a fuck boy for, like it's a good chance it will be a journey and it will be stressful on you. So I think short of him surprising you and out of nowhere saying, hey, I'd love to hang out with you. I know this great place I'd love to take you. How about 7:00 on Friday? Then you have my permission to say yes, if that matters to you. But short of that, I don't think if you have to coach him up to do that, then he's not really doing it. You know?
Okay.
Because you telling him, well, if make a plan for me to do that, all you're doing him is like giving him the answers to the test.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then that he'll just do the minimum to get what he wants.
Yeah.
So say next time he messages me late at night, asks me what I'm doing or to go get drinks, do I just say I'm busy or do I just...
Or you ghost him.
I don't even call it ghosting.
I mean, yeah. I think he hasn't worked for it.
I think you should respond in all caps, unsubscribe.
Wait, I'm stealing that. Well, I guess I can't now anymore, but I'll use it for other things.
Please do.
You have to have the strength. You have to have the strength to just only send that though, because it's a funny response, and he will see that as a challenge, and you run the risk of being caught up in that game.
True.
And him, you know, so like if you do reply, it's to just kind of, you know, stand in your power of saying no to the fuckboy all while not responding. Because it only works if you only write unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but then again, I feel like it comes down to like how transparent you want to be. You have two ways of going about it too, where you straight up say to him, like, this isn't cool. But I feel like it's so early in like having not gone on a second date that you can just always have an excuse to why you're busy. And like eventually this person will not be in your life anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah.
I do love, I mean, another alternative too is like nothing works better with guys than telling them like what they're not good at. So if you just very calmly say to him, like you could say unsubscribe and like, oh, what's that all about?
Yeah.
And you say something like, listen, I think you're great. I think you're really nice. It just doesn't seem right now like you're at where I'm at. It doesn't seem like you're in a place to like actually, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But this isn't for me. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're saying it as if you've already decided that what he's doing is not at your level.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't ask him to change. You're saying it as a very matter of fact, like your decision has been made.
Yeah.
Now, again, he might rise to the challenge and do all the things that you want him to do. Just be
be careful of that.
Yes, proceed with caution. It is not genuine. Is it a reaction to you providing a challenge? Now, I'm a big believer that like everyone's fuckboy is going to be someone's future partner. Someday this guy will grow up and like want to pick someone, and it might be you, but it's probably not. Right?
Yeah.
So like you just have to be very careful if you do these kind of game playing things that like are necessary at times, but you just have to be really, really careful. But if you want to give him a little dig and you want to tell him what you've decided he's not ready for, then you can do that. Yeah. Because that will really
that's up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the route I'll take on that one.
All right. That's our
well,
two
thank
cents.
you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks.
I feel give us an update because I feel like you might give in to the temptation.
No, I have faith in you.
I feel like I'll probably get a text this weekend, and then I'll update you next week.
Okay.
What are the chances you say you give him another shot after this?
I think I'll definitely go with the unsubscribe message.
Okay.
And then hopefully I'm not drinking when he texts me.
Great answer.
Well, at least it's honest.
I like that one.
All right. Oh, keep us updated.
Yeah, I will.
All right. Thanks for calling. How's it going?
Hi, I'm Anna and I am 28 and I need help drafting a text to a guy that I have previously been on a date with or was talking to.
All right. Why was it previous and why do you want to give this person another chance?
Okay. So actually I don't want to give this person another chance, but a little bit of a backstory.
Okay.
About a year ago, I met this guy and I'm going to call him Marine Guy. And so we went on a date and it was hands down like the best instantaneous connection I've like ever had. And I've been on a lot of dates. And then after, it turns out he actually didn't live in my state, but ironically, like he lives where I grew up. Okay. So he's from where I live and he lived where I grew up. So we left that date deciding to kind of continue talking, like FaceTiming, texting, all the things. And if we were ever in each other's location, we would meet up and go out. So a couple months after we decided, I was flying back to my hometown and I told him and he asked me out to go on a date. And I was super excited. Like I got a new outfit, all the things, told all my friends and whatnot. And he stood me up. And so then after that, I tried to move on, but I kept finding myself thinking about him. And he kept reaching out via Instagram. And
time out. Did we address the getting stood up?
No, he didn't.
Did you?
He didn't.
We just pretended it didn't happen?
Yeah. Well, I didn't call him out on it. I feel like I was just excited that he contacted me again. And I was just, so I kind of let it slide.
What was the communication like in the moment? Because I've also totally gotten stood up on dates before, and like usually my reaction is to be like, "Hey, where are you?"
Yeah. So I texted him, I called him. It was just nothing. And then a couple months went by, and then he started to reach out again via Instagram, like my real account. And we were messaging back and forth and the emotional intensity started to like fire back up on my end. And back in February, and I decided to like shoot my shot, send him a message saying that I was like into him. And then I never heard from him. He didn't acknowledge or respond to that text message. So now he reached out to me and saying that he was going to be in my area. I have a boyfriend now. I'm in a committed relationship. Things are going good. And he reached out to me saying that he wanted to meet up and go out. And I want to say a text that makes him feel like I messed up. Like I effed up basically. And
I mean, this is like kind of your toxic trait here, because
I know.
This is all your ego. Every step of the way, you've let your ego dictate your decisions. And you let your ego decide not to like check in or ask him. And this whole like when you wrote, oh, I don't know why I kept thinking about him. That's you not like, listen, you got stood up. It's fucking embarrassing. I mean, you shouldn't feel embarrassed, but it is embarrassing. Like no one likes to feel that way. And the only way your ego was to not feel embarrassed was to get him to show you that he still cared. And that's why we let people off the hook so often when they like do super rude things to us, like ghost us or like stand us up or inconvenience. It's not because they deserve it or like, but we lie to ourselves about like this need of looking the other direction because we've decided the only way we can stop feeling less than is for them to make us feel special again.
Yeah.
And so you ignore all the red flags that they demonstrated that are so obvious, and we look the other way. And now you want to, you're happy in a relationship. Like why?
I know. Yeah. I think that's actually one part of the thing where I'm like trying to figure out why too, because I am happy. Like I am in a very happy relationship. But like seeing that just, I feel like threw me off. And I instinctively just wanted to be like, what is something that I can send to him to be like, your loss? Like, I think in a way to kind of get back to him for all the hurt that he caused me.
A petty text is never going to hit that way. A vulnerable text might. Like, honestly, just being like on a human level, like a text that's like, I think if you do want to send anything, just like a text that forces him to confront your humanity and like the way he made you feel is kind of the move. Like something that's just like, hey, like have a boyfriend now. But also like it really made me feel like shit when I was waiting at a restaurant in an outfit I'd bought for that night and you didn't show up.
I mean, that's not like bad, but like I feel very strongly by saying there is no text in the world that anyone can come up with that will elicit the feeling you're trying to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a big believer in you don't tell people you're happy, you show them. So you know what I'm saying? Like telling him he fucked up, you're happy. Like that's you giving something to him that he doesn't deserve. And that is the knowledge of like what you're doing right now. And then once you say that to him, you're going to have this heightened sense of expectation because that's what you want. Like you're literally like, I want to send a text that makes him feel a certain way. Well, what happens when you send a text and you don't get the response you want? Then immediately you'll be giving this stranger, this guy who's not your boyfriend, your energy. You're going to be investing energy in some guy when all you should be doing is investing energy in your current relationship. And even if it's just your thoughts, like it's all your ego wanting this. And there's just nothing you can send. Even your vulnerability, you already have a goal. Like, and that goal is to get him to feel something. And once you send that out into the world, then your feelings will be affected because you need something in return from him. And that by definition is giving away your power to this guy you've already given so much to because you want something back. So just accepting that this guy didn't give you what he wants and just like not responding is the only way you can get the feeling that you want. Then like you're in control of that narrative. And nothing is worse than not hearing a response. It always in these situations where you want to respond to someone and you try to get a response, think about like just switch it around. Like imagine think about how it felt when this guy couldn't even reply back to you or give you a heads up he wasn't gonna, like that feeling of like not even taking the time as simple as sending a text.
I gotta go. A concert, but which is already messed up enough. But
sure, it's messed up. But
like at least the acknowledgement.
Yes, and that was worse. Not getting anything was worse than anything he could have sent. So if you really want him to feel this thing you want to feel, just don't respond. And letting him know he missed his window is to not getting a response. Because you responding at all lets him know that he still has a little bit of power over you. And the truth is he really doesn't, but your ego is giving him this power.
Yeah.
And that is your ego still needs his validation. And that validation is to know he's now sad and regrets it. And that does nothing for your current relationship or for you. Like, I think this is more dangerous than you're giving it credit to. And like I think you need to figure out how you let this guy in the situation go. And even though I don't doubt that you are happy in this relationship, there is something about, and I don't think it's him. I think it's you allowing you, but like you have to figure out how to truly let go of that feeling and that need for his validation or approval just because you felt rejected by him once. And I would work through that because it affects you. It affects it's energy you're spending. I mean, as much as I appreciate you calling in and giving us content, like you shouldn't be calling in to a show to get advice of how to respond to someone who's not your boyfriend when you have a boyfriend.
Right. Yeah.
Like right now, you could be thinking about your boyfriend and a way to like connect with him or plan a date or something like that. And like, listen, you're human. I'm not trying to like criticize you, but like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's why we just need to be really mindful about that stuff because I don't doubt that you're happy. And it's a very human feeling that you're feeling. But right now you are investing in someone who is not someone you should be investing in. And it's taking away, from someone you can. Your energy is not infinite. Like the time in your day is not infinite. And so if you're spending it somewhere else, That means you're not spending it where it could go. If you're spending it in a place where it shouldn't be going, that means you're not spending it in a place where it can be going or should be going. I do think like blocking him is what you 100% should do, and just get rid of that kind of toxic energy you're investing in this person by checking to see if he's looking at your stories and getting satisfaction that he still gives a shit about you. It really does nothing for your current relationship or your like mental health.
You're right.
So why would we just block him right now?
I could, yeah.
Yeah, let's 1, 2, 3 block him.
Yeah.
You've graduated from him. You've graduated from this whole thought process and dynamic.
Listen, it hurt you, and I'm sorry he hurt you. And I think it hurt you more than you wanted to acknowledge, and you never processed it when it hurt you, and you've held on to that, and this whole time you've been trying to figure out how to get over that hurt. So,
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, I'm going to do it.
I think you just acknowledge that he hurt you.
Yeah.
And just say it and just kind of let go of it and say that I don't need this validation anymore, and it'll go away over time.
You're right. Thank you.
So, and have you blocked him for everything? Block his phone number, block his Instagram, block everything.
You can't keep trying to look at it, like his page, and see if he's looking at yours, because that's just going to keep the cycle going.
I saw a TikTok. I saw a TikTok the other day. It was funny. It did really well. It was actually older. And it was of a woman who blocked her ex or something. And he apparently was hooked up to the Wi-Fi because they used to date. And he sent a message to the printer that said, "Call me back."
Oh, God.
The most disturbing thing about that.
That is so scary. Like just thinking about the printer going on its own. And
oh my God, yeah.
The most
Like
disturbing thing about that was the comments and the reply was the "take him back, oh my God." And I think a lot of it was satirical, but I think there's some truth to that feeling, is like that feeling of like, oh,
he's going out of his way.
He's trying so hard, and that like, but it's that ego wanting to feel special. And like, listen, you want to feel loved and special in a current relationship, but like, it's not special if it's for the wrong reasons, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's only special when they do it because they want to, because they can, not when they feel like you're pulling away or you're gone or they're blocked.
Yeah.
You know, or they're trying to see if I can get the girl who I ditched and went to a concert and didn't even give her the courtesy. And if I can get her to forgive me, like imagining that ego trip. But yeah. So did you block him?
I did. Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
This has been really helpful, actually. It's like everything that, like, even like the Instagram thing. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I have been doing that.
It's human. We've all been victims of that. Like, it's a very human feeling. I hope I'm not making you feel like
No. This was like the reality check that I needed, because I feel like some of my friends even were like, why are you like, because I would tell them, I'm like, oh, he reached out to me again. And they would say, why don't you just block him? And I'm like, I don't know. And so it's good.
It's a trap. Like, we all want to feel, when someone makes us feel less than, we often make the mistake of giving them too much credit to think that they're the only person who can make us feel whole again. And that's not true. But we have to like recognize that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck. Good luck.
Good job.
Congrats on having a relationship. I'm glad you're happy. And don't forget, like, pat yourself in the back today. It wasn't easy to do. Like, give yourself some credit for moving forward. Don't unblock him. And
I won't.
If
Don't
he
worry.
finds a way to get a hold of you, like, don't try your best to not feel good about that. You know, recognize that it's not a feeling you should take as validation.
It's like you want the apathy, not the hatred.
Yeah. All right. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care. Hayley, this has been so much fun.
Thanks.
It was so much fun talking to you.
You too. Thanks for having me on.
Please let my audience know again where they can find your music, your social, your TikTok, your Instagram, obviously all the things that you're doing.
Yes. Music is just my name, Hayley Orrantia. And so is pretty much all my social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Always on the TikTok. Loving the TikTok.
You have a great TikTok.
Thank you.
Well
It's
done.
fun.
It's fun.
Very fun.
Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to send those questions at asknick@castme.com. Cass with the K. We are back next week. Elizabeth Wagmeister from Variety is helping us break down The Bachelorette. Holly Madison, you know her, you love her, is with us. That should be a fun episode.
Very fun.
That's on Going Deeper next week. And as always, Monday, Ask Nicks. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Mondays Ask Nick for your favorite relationship stories and advice, and our Tuesday Bachelor recaps. See you next time.